Well, yesterday I posted about my disastrous motorcycle camping trip, photographically disastrous, that is, that I did yesterday and the day before. Um, from a standpoint of photography, that is, I didn't get any photographs at all. I got a couple of pictures of the motorcycle, my baby. I call her Savick. If you don't know why, not paying attention. Anyway, I started thinking about what's most important in the photograph. I mean, I was looking for good light, obviously, and I was looking for an interesting composition. I found a couple of compositions. I sat on the side of the road with this wonderful little creek wandering through the grass and everything. I thought this is going to be killer when the sun gets right about there, and it should have been, but it wasn't. It was flat. I could have taken the picture. I could have easily turned around, opened up the trunk of the bike, got the Nikon, and made the shot. But I didn't. Because with the light that was there, I had no emotional impact in the photograph. There was no feeling in the photograph. The light didn't give me that. Now I know I could have taken it into Lightroom and Photoshop and just screwed the ever-loving crap out of it and make it look something interesting. But I didn't want to do that for some reason. There's other times when I will do that. I don't have any problem with people who do that. None at all. Photograph is all that matters. But I was just kind of being, I don't know what the word, kind of purist or whatever on this trip, and I just didn't want to mess with something in Photoshop. Another shot I really wanted, there's a Ponderosa Grove up there on 261, just the other side of the Holly Lake exit. Those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, I'm so sorry. Anyway, there's this awesome stand of Ponderosa pines, and there's lots of ferns growing at the base. This is a very, very cool place, and I was hoping I could get some light coming back through it. What I wanted to do was a 3-panel shot and stitch it all together to have the stand of pine trees and the ferns there at the bottom, and just have the trunks of the trees. I stopped, I composed it. The light was so bad. I did a couple of test shots, and nothing I could do with them. I mean, they were, again, I can put them in Photoshop and I can enhance the heck out of them, but that's not what I wanted to do with this set of shots this weekend. So it got me thinking, what's most important about photographs to you? What's the most important thing about the photograph to you? For some people, it's the technical aspects of the photograph, how sharp it is, how true the color is, how grainless it is, how perfect color balance it is, etc. And I don't have a problem with that. That's fine. That's part of photography. It's never been a focus of mine. Did you get what I said there? I've never really cared that much about focus. I mean, there's times when I need to have perfect focus, but then there's times when focus being a little off just doesn't bother me. For me, it's the emotional impact. What's the emotional impact of the photograph? Does it take the viewer's mind to another place? Does it make them think about something different? Does it tell a story? There's lots of words that go through my mind. Forgotten, lonely, standing, permission. There's graphic considerations. There's isolation, inclusion. There's all these different terms that float around in my head when I'm making a photograph, and I'm thinking, there's that standing tree, that one tree right there in the middle of the field. There's nothing around it except the blowing grass. I'm taking that photograph. I think lonely. I think excluded. I think isolated. I think powerful. I think standing alone. All of these things. That's it. It's metaphor. I studied a photographer a long time ago named Minor White. And if you don't know Minor White's work, I'm sorry, you should. Brilliant photographer. But he talked about the photograph as metaphor, as allegory. Has a great white paper on it. You can look it up online. There's this thing called Google. It's cool. You should try it out. It's awesome. And this white paper on allegory, way back when I started photography, really caught me up. And I would look back at photographs that I had seen before and realize the allegory in them that sometimes the photographer wanted us to see, and sometimes we brought it ourselves. We bring that little package with us, that little place, that little thing in our head that says this is where we've been, this is what we've seen, this is what we've heard our whole life, and this is what we're looking at. And all that baggage can come in and just help us see it. Ansel Adams famously stated that he did not photograph landscapes. He photographed metaphors. Now, if you think about that the landscape, the world, the rocks, the canyon walls, the lakes, the Sierras with sunlight on them are metaphors and not to be taken as a strict landscape photograph, go back and look at Ansel's pictures and start to see the metaphor in the picture. Start to see the power of the one, the stoic, the isolated, the grouped, the inclusion. It's an amazing thing. Another part of photography that I personally like is the graphics of it. I like making graphics. I'm very Mondrian oriented. I'm very minimalist oriented. I like to exclude more than include. I'm a still life shooter, and what I like to do when I'm shooting still lifes is get all my props, put them all out in the picture, look through the camera, and start taking stuff away until I get to that concept, until I get to that composition that really means something to me. I take away. I rarely add to. Sometimes I take away too much and I'll put something back in. But generally, I take away. Same way when I'm photographing. The frame becomes my tool to eliminate. And when you really think about photography, it's really what it is. It's the power to eliminate. It's the power to say, okay, this boat and its wake, that's my shot. You don't get to see the lake and the kids jumping in the water and the lifeguard tower and the, popcorn and the spilled beer and all that stuff. You don't get to see that because I'm going to isolate that. That's what the camera does for me. It isolates even with a wide angle lens because it's still my frame. I own that corner and this corner over here and this corner over here and all of this in the middle, that's mine. Because I said it was when I clicked the shutter. I took dominance over it. So for me, photography is all about the emotional impact that I can have, or my photographs can have, over the people that view it. It doesn't have to be technically perfect. It has to connect. There are some photographers who technical perfection is the goal. I studied a photographer named Fred Pickard. And I don't want to say anything bad about Fred Pickard, but his photography did not move me at all. To me, it was sort of meh. But that man knew technique. He could take the most incredible photograph of a pool of water and a rock and make you feel like you could get wet by touching it with the finger. And for that, I'm eternally grateful to have studied a little bit with him. Not for the photography, but for the technique. See, photography is this great tool where we have both technique and art all rolled up into one. And we have to decide what part of that, the technical or the art, we're going to embrace. For me, it's the art. For me, it's the connection. For another person, it's the technical. For that person over there, it's composition. Composition is everything. For me, composition is very important. It's not everything. To that photographer, composition first, color second. For that photographer, sharpness first, composition second. For me, emotional content first, sharpness second. It's photography. It's what makes all this stuff so damn interesting, isn't it? What's your most important part of photography? What is it that you enjoy the most? Is it the technical side? Creating technically perfect images? Is it the compositional side where the composition is everything? Is it what? Is it that perfect moment, Cartier-Bresson thing? Makes you think about what we do, makes you think about what we're going to do every time we get something in that frame and our finger reaches up for that shutter and we think, this is it. 1, 2, I'll see you tomorrow.